Well, everybody, thank you for coming today. So again, welcome to the webinar. So this is episode one, basically, of a new series we're calling Learning Lab Live. So my name is Joshua Blecci. I'm a learning solutions engineer for ELB Learning. And typically what that means is my job is to help explain our various different technology and software solutions to our customers to see what kind of alignment we can have with their learning and just employee development goals. And so I'm really passionate about our various software solutions. And I wanted to start the series to help out our community to help you understand a bit more about our products, what they're capable of, what you can do with them, all those fun things. And so that's really what today is all about is some project education, some tips and tricks, and hopefully just have a little bit of fun as well. So this is going to be a lot less formal. So Casey, who's our webinar producer, she is here. She's going to help in the chat and help with some polls later on. But I gave her the day off from having to host today. I figured I could take that on all by myself here. I've done many of these before. If you've seen any of my other webinars, welcome back. But just a few housekeeping things before we get into the meat of it. So this webinar is being recorded and you will receive that recording after the fact. We typically try to have it within a couple of days to you. And there will be also a blog associated with that recording, so that way you can kind of follow up in that format as well. Um, as we're going through the webinar today, there is closed captioning available. So feel free to enable that for yourself if you so choose. Um, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post any questions to the Q&A panel there at the bottom of the Zoom there. But there's also going to be live chat available too. So as you can see, a lot of you have already found that. Oh, Joseph, you and I would be friends. I've noticed the games that you put in there. Hero Quest, Zombicide, great ones there. Uh, so go ahead and continue to use that chat. Get to know each other. Feel free to converse during the webinar if you want to, have, you know, just sending comments or anything, feel free to throw them in there. Casey will kind of help me monitor that. And if there's anything that we need to address, we can do so. But be sure that that chat is also set to everyone. I noticed that a few people are still set to panelist and host. So there's just a little like blue drop down there. At least that's what it looks like on mine, where I can select everybody or just the panelist and host. So feel free to just set that to everyone so that everyone can enjoy your your comments there. So, okay. So with that being said, we're gonna start out this webinar with a little bit of audience participation. So Casey's gonna put up a couple polls for us. First one being, who is currently using the training arcade? And your options today are me, not me. I wish it was me. I used to have it and I miss it dearly. So go ahead and answer it there, and we'll give you just a couple of minutes to get that up there. And Casey, whenever you feel like it's been enough time, go ahead and show the results. I can't seem to see, how people are responding. So, okay. So, oh, a lot of not me's. Okay. That's great. So I'm excited to introduce this product to you. So you wish you had it, and one of you misses it dearly. That's great. Um, and if you are current subscribers, so let's go ahead and go on to the next one here. So question number two, kind of already asked this in the chat a little bit, but for those of you that are, just coming in, what is your favorite board game? I have a few up there to choose from. They're pretty common ones. But go ahead and hit the other and tell us in the chat if one of those uh, is not one of your options there. Okay, got a clue from Steve. Oh, Pandemic. That's a great one as well. Mysterium. I've not played that one, but I've heard great things. Ticket to Ride. Stratego. That's an oldie but a goodie there. Oh, Bang. That's also a very good one. Clank. Mysterium. Catan. Risk. I have a love-hate relationship with Risk. I'll be honest with that one. Wingspan. Also another great one. For those of you that may have not heard some of these games, maybe after this webinar you can take a look, but let's just see where we're at. So we do have a lot of people that are saying other in the chat, which is what we're seeing, and a lot of people love Monopoly. That's another one I have a love-hate relationship with, I'll be honest. But great. So today, if you didn't realize, the The game that we're building is actually based off of a board game, and it was one of those options up there for fun. I'm going to let you guys pick the topic of what our game is today. So I have three different topics available. So Star Wars, one of my personal favorite IPs of all time, pop culture through the decades, and then just an office safety one. Because I mean, we are in L&D. We do have to train people on actual content sometimes, and so I kind of just picked all sorts of fun and ridiculous ones up there. So whichever one you guys choose will be the topic of today's webinar. So let's see what we got here. Oh, we're getting pop culture through the decades. Okay. Yeah, Star Wars was next and off safety. So, okay, so we're going to be doing the pop culture one then. So let's start building our game. But before we do that, one last thing here, just a few disclaimers as part of what we're doing today and why I will, some of the steps that I'm going to kind of skip and jump us ahead through. So as it might be obvious, I already knew my topic and my questions. So when we're building our games, it's kind of the first thing you got to think about is, okay, what's my topic? Am I building a game for like, onboarding new employees? So it has to be like company policy trivia or something like that. Am I building a game that's like safety related? So I need to include like fire extinguisher safety questions, those types of things. Or am I just building one for fun like we are today, where I can really just make it kind of fun and informational? And then building out your questions. So what you'll notice today is we support three different question types within this game. We have a multiple choice, a multiple select, and then a text input, which really I would kind of consider more fill in the blank. You could put longer answers, but it's just keeping those kind of short. And you'll see why here when we get into actually the game itself. So that's kind of the first disclaimer. The second one being is I am going to use a bulk import template, which for those of you that have used the Train Arcade in the past, you'll understand that this is actually a new feature for this game. It does make the process quite faster, and we will be using that bulk import template later today. And I have already filled it in for this, but I will walk you through what that template looks like and how you can fill that out for yourself when you do build your own games. Also note, I have practiced this a bit, so hopefully it has some muscle memory here that will, hopefully get us through this a little bit quicker and a little more efficiently here. And I do demo this game for a living, so hopefully I know what I'm doing here. But let me go ahead and kind of show you guys the game that we're working with. So the as you might know, Train Arcade is part of our Learning Creation Studio suite of products. That's all of our basically our authoring solutions all together in one area here. And so I'm going to go ahead and launch the Train Arcade for us. So if you haven't seen this before, this is the administrator side of the platform or the authoring side of the platform, however you want to choose to say that. And this just shows you all your lists of games, and we'll get to this new game here in just a second. But I do want to show you what the game looks like that we're going to try to build. So we're going to hit category quest here just so I can find it easily, and pop culture through the decades. So I have built a demo version of this. I just haven't had anybody play it yet, so that's where we're not seeing any data there. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring this up on screen. Now, I don't know that I'm sharing audio with you. Let me actually go ahead and do that. You can kind of hear what this is like. Nice soothing music back here. So this is our pop culture throwdown. Now, I'm going to start this game. We're going to play it together. So feel free, once the questions start popping up, go ahead and answer those in the chat for us. So I'll go ahead and kind of get my registration here. My old email address there. So here's our fun little tutorial. We do get to select our pawn color. So it's auto selected to orange, which obviously ELB. If you know us, you know why that's orange. But does anyone have a favorite color from what we're seeing here? And you can even say like middle row, second option or whatever on there. Getting green, a red, green, purple, red, pink. Smack down in the middle, dark green. Okay, got a lot of greens, so I'm gonna go with the dark green one here for us today. So here's our categories. So we have three categories within this game. You can do more than that if you'd like. And I am going to go ahead and mute the audio for the moment here. So we have movies of the 2000s, TV shows of the 1990s, and fashion of the 80s. So we got to collect all categories on the game board to win. So you'll see that here in just a second. So now we're here on our game board. And if I click this button down here, I can kind of zoom out and see what the entire thing looks like. So um, you'll notice that the different categories are going to be different colored tiles here on the game board, and there's kind of distributed throughout the map here. And you notice there is some wild tiles that'll let us select the different categories. There's also some little power-ups as we go through that will let us do different things, whether that be jump to another part of the board, have some sort of reroll type situation. So there's a couple different things in here, but we'll go ahead and spin now. And we have 5 spaces. So this one's going to be movies of the 2000s. So which of the following movies were directed by Christopher Nolan in the 2000s? Batman Begins, The Prestige, Memento, and Inception. Now note this is a multiple select question. So, okay, I'm getting an all here. Okay. All of them. Okay. Batman Begins and The Prestige. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of alls. Okay, someone's saying everything but Memento. Okay. B, C, and D. Okay. Well, I saw a lot of alls, so we are going to go with that as our answer here, whether that be correct or not. Um, but it was not actually correct because Inception wasn't in the 2000s, it was in the 2010s. So we didn't quite get that one correct here, but we got a little of post-question content. So in this case, Memento was Nolan's breakthrough film and was based on a short story written by his brother Jonathan Nolan, which I did not know that until I started building this game. And we're going to go ahead and go again. We did not finish off that category. Let's try it one more time. Okay, here we go. Back to movies. Okay, what 2003 film starred Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, was directed by Sofia Coppola? And this is a text input. Okay, I think we got somebody right at the beginning there saying, oh, a lot of people are saying this is the same thing. So lost in translation. Submit that, and that is correct. Yes, that quiet Tokyo hotel room said more than most Hollywood scripts. So no, it definitely lost in space. Thanks, Chris. uh, so our little post question content here. Sofia Coppola became the third woman in history to be nominated for Best Director Oscar for this film. Oh, great. So now that we finished that category, you can see we're here on the leaderboard. It will kind of show us now if I had more people in here that have played this, you would see where they were after this turn as well. So go ahead and dismiss that. We'll go ahead and get on to our next question here. And we'll go ahead and move ahead 6. Now, because we're at a crossroads, we get to decide which way we want to go. So I'll go ahead and go that direction. Go ahead and go that way as well. Keep on having more. So let's go ahead and get to TV shows. Which of these were Nickelodeon shows that aired during the 90s? Again, get A, B, and D, Rugrats, okay. Doug, Rugrats, Hey Arnold. So A, B, and D seems to be the prevailing answers, and I'm pretty sure that's right. Yep, you got it. Nickelodeon's golden age was full of these animated gems, and they really were honestly great TV shows. I do did really love all of those. So, uh, Doug was one of the original Nicktoons that aired that premiered on the same day as Rugrats in 1991. So, a fun fact there. So now you'll notice that now that we only have one category left, it flipped those wild tiles for us. So we'll go ahead and continue on ahead here. So, okay, which of the following fashion trends were popular in the 1980s? Shoulder pads, leg warmers, skinny jeans, neon colors. Oh, Doug's Creator is from Richmond, Virginia. That's cool. ABD. ABD, all ABD. Seen a lot of ABDs, so we'll go ahead and go that way there. Rad, you nailed the big, bold 80s vibe. So skinny jeans apparently were not part of the part of the 80s. I kind of do wonder when those actually came into popularity now. Um, Shoulder pads became a symbol of power dressing for women, for working women in the 1980s. So, okay, so now we completed our board, but the game's not quite done. There is actually one more final category. If you're familiar with kind of the source material, you do have to answer one more question. So that's what we're going to do. So this category is video games that were made into movies. Which video game franchise was adapted into a 2001 film starring Angelina Jolie? Okay. Oh, a lot of people are very much saying, yep, Tomb Raider. Okay, we'll go ahead and click on Tomb Raider there. And bang on, because Lara Croft came to life with Angelina Jolie's action-packed performance. And the 2001 Tomb Raider film was the highest grossing video game movie until Prince of Persia in 2010. And there we go. We're finishing the game there, and now we get our fun little wrap-up screen here that you'll see in just a second. It's going to show us our score. Now, if there was, again, someone else that had played this game, we'd actually see where we rank against the leader on the leaderboard. But again, this is just me have been playing this game here, so it's just showing me the scoring mechanism here. So we're driving to the top here, and we got our little host guy with his jetpack kind of flying in to tell us we did a good job there. And so we get to see the final leaderboard. And again, hopefully at some point there'll be more people playing this. And we'll go ahead and hit continue. Now, again, similar to any of the other training arcade games, you can play this again or go show the leaderboard one last time, whatever you want to do here. So that's essentially what we're going to build today with a category quest. So we'll get through as much of that as we can. So now that we've kind of seen the example, let's go ahead and start building our game here. So I'm going to select new game now from the Train Arcade and category quest, which is our top option here. And this will bring us into our game builder. Now, again, if you're familiar with the Train Arcade, this builder might look a little different to you. Um, this is one of the first games that we're building in what we call our, kind of refer to internally as our V2 game builder. So it's a new tech stack that we're developing. So eventually you will see all the games kind of develop this kind of builder. Otherwise, it kind of just looks more like a form when you're going in to build the other games currently. And you notice that, we have this stepper nav across the top that's going to get us through the different stages of building this game. But right now we're actually going to build our game content. And so to do this, I'm actually going to give us a little jump start with the bulk import option here. So let me go ahead and actually pull that up and show you what this looks like. But just kind of note here, like we're going to click on the bulk import, and you can download the template directly from the this little dialog box here. And then you'll just upload this Excel file here. So I'm going to actually go ahead and just upload it right now to our uh, our game here. So note that if you do use the bulk import and you've already written questions, it will overwrite those. So luckily in this case, I haven't done that yet. So I'm just going to click a yes, I'm sure. And you notice that it populated all 3 questions across all 4 different categories. So we'll get into kind of modifying those in a second and adding additional questions. But just to show you what this template looks like, let me go ahead and open up the Excel file that we built here. So you'll notice that there's going to be 2 tabs on this particular document here. There's going to be your categories, which you're going to set here to, the different category names. And then you're going to determine which one's that capstone category, that final category that we just saw. And so you'll set those to false or true. Now it comes kind of pre-filled with spots for 3 different categories, but you can add more. So kind of keep that in mind as you're building this. The game we have today is 3, but you can always do more. If you want to do 5, you could. Those types of things there. And now that you have your categories determined, you will now determine your puzzles. And so your puzzles are going to be those individual questions that you're seeing. And so here on the puzzles tab, you'll see that we have the category name that that puzzle is associated with. So that's our 4 different categories, including our capstone, and the different questions or prompts as we refer to them here. Now, you'll then give the answer type. So that's more of your question type. So is it a multiple choice, multiple select? Is it text input? Those are your 3 options there. And then you'll go ahead and fill in those answers. So if we take a look at this top one here, which is a question we did not get to, um, see that this was our multiple choice question within the movies of the 2000s categories, and it was about the Princess Diaries. And so our first answer here was Princess Diaries. Second was Ella Enchanted, Mean Girls, and Legally Blonde. Um, so we put in all four choices there, but then we have to select what's correct. So in this case, our answer one is now correct. And you'll notice here on like multiple select, we determine which of all the available answers are correct. Um, and then with text input, you'll just leave that blank just because you're going to put in the text input answers here. And those would technically all be correct since you're asking someone to type in the answer. Um, and then you do have the ability to put in, your correct feedback, incorrect feedback, and then that post question content that we saw earlier. Within the templates referred to as interstitials. That's because we renamed it to just content after the initial release, and that did not get updated in the template yet. But again, you can download this directly from the game builder itself and then import it directly in here. So we're going to go ahead and start building our game. Now, the nice thing here is we have all this kind of easy to navigate stepper kind of information here. So on our start screen, we're just going to call this one pop culture, throwdown, I think is what we refer to as the other one there. Um, and then I can add a company logo here. So I will come in here and say, okay, maybe I want to find the ELB logo and throw it in here. And apparently I did not put that into this folder. So we'll try that here from our home tab. And I got my different logo options. We'll pick the one with the white text there. And now I'll just throw it down there in that corner. Now, one other really cool feature of this game is the fact that we do have these visual previews that run throughout the builder. So that way you can see exactly all the different changes you're making and how they affect your game state here. For our purposes today, we will include pre-game content. And I do have that over here real fast. So I will just go ahead and copy this in. One thing I will note is that I will be quite honest with you. All the questions and any of the text that we have here were written by ChatGPT with some assistance from there as well. So like that can be a good resource for you if you're having trouble, coming up with questions on certain topics and things or information. So we are, so that's where a lot of this text comes from. So if it seems AI written, it was not my writing. But that was just to kind of save time on building these demos here. So here I can see the start screen, but I can also look at the pre-game content screen and kind of format this a little bit. So maybe I want this to be more aligned in the center, something like that there. Um, and then I can go on to my registration. I won't do anything with this tab. This just controls the initial registration screen that we saw where I put in my player information. Now, one thing here that is unique is you can enable a team name as well. So say you did want people to play this together, you can. I know there is a question right now in the Q&A panel about can you play this with more than one person? So right now you do have this kind of pseudo team concept going on. There are some plans potentially in the future to add some more multiplayer. We're still kind of working through what that would look like, when that might be possible. So stay tuned in the future. That may be a feature that we add later on, since it is a board game and is meant to be kind of the social experience as well. But for now, we can just include that team name if we'd like to. So now let's go ahead and look at our questions here. So our different categories. So obviously from the bulk import template, we did get the name of the category as well as the three questions here. Now, in this case, I do want to add an additional puzzle here. So I'll go ahead and just go and add a new one here for us. So you notice a lot of this is already filled in as far as the category, but you could move it to a new one if you wanted to. You do have the different puzzle types here, so that's how you would change the puzzle format. But in this case, I do want to keep this a multiple choice question. And so on this next one, the question that I'm going to add in here is which 2003 film won the Academy Award for Best Picture? While I'm putting these in, if anybody knows what the answer is, feel free to share. It's actually one of my favorite movies. And maybe as I put in these answers, you'll see the right one there. But um, oh, Shrek as a guess there. You'll maybe not be right on that one. But we'll go ahead and insert all of these here. And anyone have another guess? What is the out of these four is the was Best Picture in 2003? I think it kind of shocked everybody with what it was. Yep, it was Lord of the Rings. The Return of the King was the Best Picture. So, end of a trilogy, kind of a genre film, kind of thing surprised a lot of people. And it did sweep the Oscars exactly. Like it won every category it was nominated for, which was fantastic. It is a great film. So here we can add a time bonus. Now you notice on my questions initially, I did not have like a timer on them. That was mainly because obviously I knew I'd be talking to everybody and we might need some time to answer those. But you can put in a time bonus, and basically it just allows it to say, okay, um, if you get it within a certain period of time, it's going to give you a bonus for doing so. Um, so I'm not going to really do that one today, but you can add that if you'd like. But I will add in feedback here. So our correct feedback, someone just mentioned in the chat, right? Return of the King swept the Oscars with 11 wins. And our incorrect feedback here is going to be uh, pretty similar, just obviously, saying that it's incorrect here. And you can kind of see again that preview of what that will look like here on the left. Now I will add in some post puzzle content here as well. So go ahead and upload an image for us from our pop culture thing. So we'll go ahead and find my little Return of the King graphic here. And I'll go ahead and enter my little fun fact here. This so this film is one of the only three films in in history to win 11 Oscars. And so we can kind of see what that looks like as well. And again, I might go in and style this a little bit just to make it look a little bit, a little bit clearer there on that slide. Um, and right now, since we have this next question, Bill, and we have all these other ones, I'm going to go ahead and save my game here. Now, you'll notice as we pop this up, it's asking for a couple of pieces of information before we can actually save this. So it's asking for a name of the game. So we're going to go ahead and just call this Pop Culture Throwdown. And as soon as we put in that title, it's going to generate a game URL for us, but we can customize that if we want to. So I could type in there something different if I needed to. I'll just go ahead and hit save. And now it's going to save my whole game there for me. So it's going to save my progress. And we'll be able to do that as we go along here too. So now let's take a look at our TV shows of the 90s. So okay, it looks like we have our 3 questions in there already, 3 puzzles. Let's go ahead and add our next one. Now this will be a multiple select option in this case. So we'll go ahead and change that to multiple select. And I'll pull in the question here. So in this case, and again, if you know the answer, let us know. Which of these shows first premiered in the 1990s? So we'll go ahead and just put in your options here. So we have our Friends, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'll go ahead and add 2 more options here. And then Cheers and ER is the last one. So we'll go ahead and put that one in there as well. So which ones of these premiered in the 90s? Does anyone know? A and B? Yep. There is one more that did as well. A, B, and C is not correct. It was D. Yep. ER. So Cheers was, I think, actually the 80s, I want to say. Um, it may have ended early 90s, but I think it premiered in the 90s or in the 80s. Again, we can go ahead and put in our feedback here. And just for time's sake, like you can kind of note that like adding the post puzzle content will be very similar in all these things. But for right now, I'm going to just kind of forego that for the time being. We may come back and revisit that if we have a little more time, but just to kind of keep things rolling here. So I can now I'll go ahead and save my game just to make sure that everything gets saved. So go ahead and save that for us. Um, and then go ahead and come into our fashion of the 80s category here. And we'll add a new puzzle to this one as well. Now note, like I'm adding this directly to the categories. You can add that just from here as well, or you can even add a new category from down here too. Um, but I'll go ahead and come into this one, and this one's going to be a text input in this case. Um, so we're going to go ahead and grab our question here and put that into our puzzle text. So what type of pants became iconic in the 1980s, often worn with leg warmers? Anyone have any thoughts? Leggings, yep, that is exactly right. Um, Hammer pants are also, yes, those would also work in this case. Yeah, except for I don't know if they were worn with leg warmers, but they definitely were a very popular pant and very iconic at that time. So go ahead and put leggings. Obviously, I'd like I could put more variations there, and I could kind of control like whether this was like the exact answer I'm looking for, or if I could accept part of it for whatever reason. But so you have that option there as well. But for our purposes today, leggings, it's a pretty straightforward answer there. Um, let's say you did want to accept both leggings and hammer pants, you could put both those answers in there as well. But again, we'll go ahead and put in our feedback here, and we can kind of see what those look like here. Um, and again, I could put in some post puzzle content, but I'll just kind of forego that for the moment. And I'll go ahead and hit save again here. Now in our capstone category, I do have another question I could add here, but I kind of think it's actually just now noticing it's actually just a re-ask of one of the other questions. So I'm just going to not build that one for our purposes today. But obviously, here's our capstone questions, which all looks like they've been built correctly. Now you will notice here that like when we use the bulk import template, if I did put in that post puzzle content, it's going to put in that information here for me in this post puzzle content, but I didn't have an option to add images to that spreadsheet, and so I would have to come in here and upload those myself. I mean, I do have all those images. I could come in and do that, but again, I don't necessarily think you guys just want to watch me upload images for the next 15 minutes. Um, so we'll go ahead and kind of avoid that there. But here on our leaderboard, we can see what the information um, looks like. So here on the leaderboard, like you can't anonymize this. This is going to then put it into kind of funny little animal names, kind of similar to like if you go into a Google document where you're kind of anonymized there. It's going to do a very similar thing, and then you can control whether you show the leaderboard on that game over screen. And then you can put in a learn more URL here too. So you do have that option there. Are GIFs supported for images? That I actually do not know. Let me double check. They might be. Um, yes, they are. Yep, you can upload a GIF there if you'd like. You can also upload videos too there. So you can upload an MP4 or a URL as well as part of that post puzzle content there. So that's our game build. So we'll go ahead and hit save there. So next stage here being our theme building. Now we have a couple of different background tracks we can choose. Let me make sure my site is not muted here. So the one that we have set already as kind of the default is this Rainy Days, which is I think the one we used on our game already. But then you do have this banana candy option as well, which is a bit funkier. So like you do have those options, and we probably will add more as you get into it. Um, but we'll keep it on Rainy Days for now. I kind of like that one a little better for this game and this vibe that we're going for here. But you do have some options for theming. Now there are a couple of pre-built themes for you here. So like we do have this one called Art Class, which is kind of fun. The background of this one I really like, the little like doodle drawings here. Um, you have a category quest one, which is kind of the basic theme here. that this game first came with. And then your last option here is Final Frontier, which you can guess, what show they got that one off of. Um, but you kind of see that one's more spacey themed. But then I think for today we're going to use a custom theme here. So we can put a background image here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in just this kind of black background here, just kind of keeping it, a little bit fun with the texture, but still kind of easy to tell the difference here. And then you might have noticed this as we were going through the game, is like you do have the option to set like the category color and icon there within the game builder itself. But I kind of like doing it over here on the theme tab as I was building these games. It just made more sense to me and was easier to kind of manage just doing it all three here. The capstone category is still managed over in the game side, but these three are managed here. So what we'll do, so our three categories here, so movies of the 2000s, we'll go ahead and select our icon there and maybe type in movie. Okay, so we got a movie camera. I'll go ahead and use that icon there. So we'll select that. TV shows of the 90s, we'll go ahead and just type in like TV maybe. We'll use that little retro box there. And then lastly, fashion of the 80s. We'll just type in fashion. That's not going to get us anything. Is it clothing? Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Clothes hanger. So go ahead and throw that one in there as our icons there. Um, and then on our category colors here, um, you have kind of some different options for how you want to input those. So you can either just do the RGB values. You can either just use the color, or you can use the color picker here. Um, I'm kind of a hex color guy, so I'm going to go ahead and use that for us today. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. So the first one is going to be A9C9FF. So that changes, obviously, our graphic over here. I'm going to come in here to this orange, change this out as well to a kind of a purple color. So we'll go 9B59, B6. So we got our fun purple color in there. And then for this last one here, we're going to go ahead and put in, let's see. Hold on. This is going to be FF 69B4. And it's going to be this fun pink color. Now you notice that, okay, there's all my category colors, but I also do have this button up here, which is currently this red color. I kind of think I want it to actually be my purple. So I'll go ahead and switch that to my purple color here. And that's going to be 9B5, 9B6. And so that's going to be our purple color. And I kind of think that matches somewhat with some of the pawns that you're seeing in this background. So I think that that works pretty well there. And then, like I mentioned, your capstone color is set back here on the capstone category levels. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that here real fast. And this is going to be kind of a green color. So 00FF7F. So it's kind of this fun neon color. And then I'll come in here and put in like video. Nope. Okay. Let's maybe try games. Okay. Go ahead and do that. Controller there. And so we got all that set. So I'll go ahead and save now there as well. So that's pretty much the like whole game that you're building there. So you're pretty much done. There are a couple of additional features that you can set. So for instance, that category completion threshold. So if you noticed, we only had to get one question right in the example game to then complete that category. Now, if say you had maybe more like 10 questions in there and they needed to actually get like 3 of them right, you could set that here and set this up to 3. Um, Here's where you also set that time bonus that we talked about earlier. You can also set it to reveal the correct answer if like an incorrect submission was not set, and you can add session limits as well, just similar to if you used Strain Arcade before, it's similar functionality there. The last thing here is the game seed. Now, this is kind of a concept that is unique to this board game, and it's how you affect the randomness of the boards. So basically, when someone clicks on that link to play that game, in that moment, it's going to randomize the distribution of those categories across that board. So if I go in and click on that game again right now, that board's going to look a little different than what we saw earlier. But if we put in a game seed, it's going to lock down that randomness and say, okay, anytime anybody clicks on this, it's going to be distributed in the same way. So everyone's going to get the same identical board. And the way that we set this game seed is we just have to put some sort of keyword in here. So that could be something even just as simple as putting like apple or banana or whatever, right, in there to kind of keep that randomness locked down. And if, say, we built another game and we wanted to keep the same distribution that we had in this game, we could put it there, put the same keyword in there, and it would lock it down as well. So again, it's a more advanced concept. You don't need to do it. It's just something there if you wanted to keep kind of a consistency in the randomness. But otherwise, it's just going to automatically randomize the board for you. But we'll go ahead and just kind of leave this alone here. And then I'm going to finally hit play down here. And this is where that kind of save as information is actually tucked away back here. Because really you only need to see it that one time most of it often. So we just kind of threw it back here just in case you want to edit that. But now you can either just copy the game URL like we did before, or you can download the SCORM package for you here. So we do support SCORM 2004 and 1.2 that you're able to pull down a couple different editions of 2004 as well. And so you can set your passing percentage and the SCORM pass fail information and SCORM and the close button there on the game over as well. Now you do have a third option in most cases where you are going to be able to embed the game too. If you want to say put it into a web page or something like that, you could easily do that. Now, I know a number of people use these games within another e-learning course, such as something built in Storyline or our tool Lectora. You simply just insert those as a web object using the URL. At that point, you wouldn't use the embed code for that. And then this last option here for Docebo is if you're a Docebo customer, we do have a direct publish integration to their platform available to you. They're a partner of ours, so we built that to better integrate with their platform there. But we'll go ahead and hit save one last time here, and that is our game. So if we go ahead and hit play game, we'll see that it's fully ready to go for us. Nope, you put in team name. We'll go ahead and put a random spelling there. But we're not going to go through this whole game again, but you'll kind of notice that it's going to be very similar to what we just saw, and now it's good to go. And so we built this, I think in like 25 minutes or so to this point. So you can kind of see, like, if I went back and added all of those new, all those images and things to that for the post puzzle content, it would take a little bit longer. Probably would take me the full hour to build this out. Like, I think each of those games that I built did take around that to build. And so it does, but an hour to build something like this, that's pretty good. I mean, that gets you a pretty high quality game in a very quick time frame, pretty easily. And so, again, yeah, if I went back and continued to build on it, you kind of see that here. But it looks like I do have a couple of questions. I'll go ahead and answer a few. So, how is the scoreboard saved, and how is it different from the link to the SCORM package? So the scoreboard, so all the analytics do feed back into our dashboard back here within the training arcade. So it is pulling that data back no matter how you publish it, whether that be through a SCORM file or whether that be through the link there. So if I come out here to one that has some data already, just from our previous game here, you can kind of see that. You can see, okay, here's the time that I played. If I had multiple attempts, you could see that tracked over here. You could see some overview trends up here at the top. And then you can see the puzzle stats here. So you can see the questions that I answered and how many attempts and things that took. There's not a lot of data here, so this one's not really showing a lot, but I can show you on another game that we have, a different type of game here. So we do have a Jeopardy game as well, which is an official Jeopardy there. So if you look at these 80s pop culture on here, you'll see that if I move this to all time, I'm going to see all this information here. So you get similar data for category quest as well as more people play the game. Now, how that's different from the link to the SCORM package. Um, the SCORM package, as most of you are probably aware with SCORM, it gives you kind of very limited information. Like you can get like completion data, and sometimes like a pass you can get scoring, and depending on the version of SCORM you're using, you can also sometimes get like quiz questions, test questions kind of recorded in there as well. And so that data is still available to you within your LMS, regardless, but it's going to call back to our system for like the much more granular information here. That way you can kind of get both levels of information. That's actually one of the, I think the coolest things about the Train Arcade, is the fact that not only is it like easy to get these out there and distribute it to your audience and build them, but also you get really a great information off of them that I think it's sometimes underutilized by a lot of organizations, when it can really tell you like people's effectiveness and performance. So, like for instance, like this pop culture one, this Jeopardy game. If I take a look at some of the players here, some of the top performers, you'll see that they went through and played this multiple times, and their scores improved each and every time that they played. And that's one of the real values behind game-based learning is it's actual activities that people want to go and engage with, versus a traditional SCORM course, compliance course that I know many of you probably spend hours building those. um, but the chance of someone going back and engaging with that more than they have to is pretty much next to zero. And so this kind of gives you a way to help engage and reinforce content over time, and people actually want to come in and play because they kind of want to level up and get up the leaderboard as well. Is it possible to embed the live leaderboard in other locations? Currently, no. That has been a request from many customers to be able to do that. So I think it is something we have been discussing within our product team. And I'd be happy to add another boat to that for you as well, um, to to see if that's a potential in the future. So we have about 10 minutes left. So any other questions that you guys have, go ahead and throw them in the Q&A panel, or within the chat. You guys have been a great audience so far, so I really appreciate your engagement here today, and all the um, and all the participation that you've had. What's the accuracy column represent here? That's a great question here. So the accuracy is kind of the overall like aggregate of the accuracy. So like for instance here, you can see that Kristen here on the second line here, she played the game 3 times. One of those times she got 100, one of those times she got 95, and one of those she got 75%. So if you kind of took those and kind of, I guess, almost averaged them out in a way, that gets you your overall accuracy. So you can kind of see that here on this next person as well. Her first attempt was around 63, and then she got 100, but her accuracy is saying 81. So again, it's just taking in that kind of accuracy score across the sessions that they played. Any other questions anybody has? Can this data be exported? Yes, it can. So this little download button right here, that will download a Excel file for you. So it downloads as an actual Excel SX. It's not a CSV, but is there a recommended minimum number of questions when the bulk import is preferred? No. I tend to use it every time now, to be honest with you. Because it's pretty easy to, since again, I do tend to use ChatGPT for my questions. You can kind of get them to do the formatting for you and just copy and paste over to the template. I would say if you're going past about, um, if you're looking at maybe like, I don't know, if you're going past 5 questions or so, I would definitely use it per category, just because it's going to save you a lot of time there. Where I was at with the 3 questions and 3 categories, that's probably a pretty good average size game. I probably didn't need to. Like I probably could have, done the game in the same amount of time, initially, but I the bulk import's just so cool. Like it's just one of those features that as like someone that uses this product has been using this for a long time now. It's just one of those things that I've just loved, and so I just kind of keep using it. Uh, but really, it's kind of up to you depending on how you want to do it in your workflow, what makes sense. Um, oh, that's cool. I have a game with 100 plus plays by incentivizing competition with a leaderboard during a multi-day F2F course. Nice. Replays plenty. That's great. What was that? That's Joseph. That's great. Any last questions here? Okay. Well, um, let's move over to my last little slide here. So, again, this is going to be an ongoing series, Learning Lab Live, that we're going to have once a month. There will also be blogs that will come out periodically as well that will tie into this series. We have actually a pretty fun series planned for September. Next month, our Learning Lab Live is going to be a little later in the month, and that's actually probably going to be the regularly scheduled time frame. Will be kind of towards the end. If you wish that was earlier in the month, please let us know, and we can accommodate probably in future scheduling. But the next month is going to be around our tool called Micro Builder. So it's our AI first authoring platform. So we'll be talking about AI authoring as well as collaborative authoring as part of that, because we have a big release that um, I don't think I'm technically supposed to say this, but I will anyways. Casey can stop me if she wants. But we do have a big release around collaboration coming out for that. That's supposed to be out. Obviously, software development things can get delayed. It's supposed to be out by that point in September. That we'll be able to show you guys, which is really cool. So there's going to be some fun surprises there. So the registration for that's already available. Casey, I don't know if we have the link for that available right now. Think we forgot to prep that. Um, but feel free to look for that and come and join me again for that. If you want to connect with me as well, I'm happy to do so. My LinkedIn URL is right there. You can just search for me. I think I'm one of two Joshua Bledges in the entirety of LinkedIn. I think the other ones, I think he's in Pennsylvania. I'm in Utah. So if that helps, there you go. There's also my email there if you want to just email me directly. I'm happy to meet with you and kind of discuss games or any other needs that you might have where our technology might be able to help you out. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'll kind of keep this up here for a second for you all. But again, feel free to reach out if there's any questions, and I look forward to seeing yet another Learning Lab live here in the future. Thanks everyone for being such a great audience today. Really appreciate it.